Hello friends and welcome to Saturday evening's posted mostly weekly broken news with your host, Trevor Stewart.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Hello friends, welcome back to Weekly Broken News with me, your host, Trevor Stewart. Let me remind you that this is not a news show, and this is not a news show, and I am not a journalist. All of the views expressed herein are 100% correct and verifiable as opinions. Let's begin this evening with something from the front page of the New York Post. He made the front page, y'all. Georgia Jettison is what the headline reads, coming on the heels of the House Ethics Committee findings and a 311 to 114 vote that included over 100 Republican votes. Suckman Santos is out. The article notes, Santos is the first member to be expelled from the House in more than 2 decades, and the first to be ousted since the Civil War. Who wasn't first convicted of a felony? With George Skunko's removal, Governor Kathy Hochul will need to conduct a special election to fill the spot. In a Twix exclamation, I think that's what we're going with now, posted just after the vote, Governor Hochul is quoted as saying, "I am prepared to undertake the solemn responsibility of filling the vacancy in New York's 3rd District. The people of Long Island deserve nothing less." An associate producer's note, you can check to see exactly how each House member voted. And yes, Republican Representative Raskin, the rascal, voted him out now that there was a cause. Very reptilian rascal, that Raskin. That Republican Raskin. Moving on, Steve Bannon issues an ominous warning to Mark Milley from MSN.com. From the article, Steve Bannon has issued a warning to retired General Mark Milley, claiming that he will be held accountable in a second Donald Trump administration over calls he made to his former Chinese counterpart in the final tumultuous months of Trump's term in office. "I feel a disturbance in the force. Something I haven't felt since." Asoc Prod note, and I agree. Second Trump administration? I think even the Republicans are determined that won't happen at this point. Moving right along. Now there are questions as to whether or not Trump swore or not. Did Donald Trump swear to support the Constitution? Presidential oath, full transcript. I'm pretty sure that he used all the foul language, fried, grilled, roasted. The legal team trying to keep turnip on the Colorado ballot is claiming that Turkey swore to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, not to support it. According to the book that tells you what synonyms and antonyms are, protect is synonymous with support. A couple other synonyms are conserve, defend, keep, preserve, safeguard. Funny how all 3 of the words that are the focus of this ploy lead back to and are interchangeable with support. And moving on to Nikki Haley wins backing of powerful Koch network as she aims to take on Trump. I feel a disturbance in the force. Moving on to more legal news. Trump breaks court ruling by moving $40 million from Trump Organization to personal bank account, from MSN.com. And to quote the movie Aladdin, the character Iago, I could have a heart attack and die of not surprise. Moving on to some good news. Henry Kissinger, dominant U.S. diplomat of Cold War era, dies at age 100. The only good die young. So, we celebrate the passing of this outsized influence in global politics responsible for strongman dictators, human rights violations, and the prolonging of the Vietnam War. And moving along to something from our UK correspondent, WhoezThatGirl. It's Jess. From ITV News, who is Esther McVey and what is her new role as Common Sense Minister in government? And I feel the need to quote the article here because it was some fun writing. To quote the article, a Cheshire MP has returned to the cabinet for the first time in almost 4 years, being handed the unofficial title of Minister of Common Sense. Esther McVey, who represents Tatton, was officially made minister without portfolio during Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's cabinet reshuffle. But it is understood that the Great Britain news presenter and former Work and Pension Secretary, whose appointment is hoped will placate the Tory right after the sacking of Suella Braverman, will be the voice of common sense. Arriving at her first cabinet meeting, Miss McVey said it felt very good to be back, adding, I'm obviously there to bring back the common sense. Yes, I meant to give 2 fingers there. To begin with, for me personally, it is hard to believe that anything Rishi Sunak does is based in common sense. Sunak is not based. The article goes on to say, asked about her role as Minister for Common Sense, Prime Minister's official spokesman told reporters that that was not her public title. Pressed on whether her title was the Minister for the War on Woke, the spokesman said, again, happy to repeat, she is the minister without portfolio in the cabinet office. New Tory chairman Richard Holden praised the plain-speaking Miss McVey. These endorsements are rather like having Elon Muskerberg tell you that you're good at business. Also, anybody is the voice of common sense after Suella Braverman, as long as you have the common sense not to act like Marie Antoinette. But now I want cake. Moving right along to something from the HuffingtonPost.com. GOP lawmakers lament workers' laziness in hearing about overtime pay. Ha. Huffington Post thinks they have tongue twisters. From the article, that's not what this country is all about. We have great opportunities in this country for people to be successful if they want. Sorry, it's hard for me to finish that with a straight face. From the article, that's not what this is. From the article, that's not what this country is all about. We have great opportunities in this country for people to be successful if they want to work hard. This was part of the tone-deaf response from Republican Virginia Fox, GOP chair of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce, to the Democratic witnesses' testimony that workers are not willing to work uncompensated, mandatory overtime anymore. Isn't that what we had a whole, French Revolution about? Tying it back to Marie Antoinette. I'm pretty sure that everyone working 60 plus hours a week and still just barely making rent and utility payments totally agrees with that statement. And now moving on to our next segment. An old favorite here. Escaped Animals, or Ark on the Lam. From CBS Austin, animal causes another power outage in Austin, nearly 4,000 customers affected. For the second day in a row, a creature caused additional chaos to Austin's power grid Thursday. It is unknown what creature is responsible for the most recent outage. The squirrel that may or may not have been responsible for Wednesday's issues declined to comment, according to the lawyers for the global animal freedom fighters. Moving along, we wish Jonathan, the world's oldest living land animal, a very happy birthday as he celebrates year 191. At least we think he is that old. Insert joke about John Quincy Adams being sworn in, the Erie Canal opening, or the Decemberist uprising. I think that counts. Finishing the varmint visions and versions, we have a round of good news, bad news. Blue whales, ocean giants, return to safe tropical haven in the Seychelles after being decimated nearly 60 years ago. That's good. However, wild turkeys are disappearing, but no one is sure why. General wild turkey populations have decreased almost 20% in the last 20 years. That's bad, especially for Kentucky bourbon whiskey drinkers. On the other hand, endangered Sumatran rhinoceros born in Indonesia sanctuary. A new baby for a species that is fewer than 50 members left. That's good. But then, animals meant for adoption may have been turned into reptile food, misplacing almost 300 small animals and only getting 63 back. That's bad. Last of all, sea turtles' nests breaking records on US beaches, but global warming threatens survival. More sea turtles is always a good thing, but severe storms, lack of nesting grounds is a bad thing. All in all, we think that's a wash. Various vectors, versatility varying by vexingly via virtual views, valuing vastly vibrant, venerable validation, vanward vaulting, and vanquishment. Moving on to some human news. From ABC, no one cared. Women who have reported mistreatment while giving birth say CDC report validates their trauma. To quote the article, if the CDC has to tell you to respect patients' rights and to respect the medical ethics of autonomy, I think we really have gone off the rails. And I have nothing to add to that. Next up from MSN, cosmic ray named Sun Goddess strikes Earth, leaving scientists baffled. Amaterasu! Scientists are always being baffled. That's why they're scientists. Moving along to some environmental news. COP28. Why has an oil boss been chosen to head the climate summit? From BBC.com. As global leaders gather in Davos to discuss the future of, well, everything, For COP28, we are reminded of the words of sanity spoken by the voice of wisdom that is Greta Thunberg. Last year, when The Guardian ran the headline, "Ridiculous, Greta Thunberg blasts decision to let UAE oil boss chair climate talks." I'd like to point out that while she is an amazing person, we shouldn't need her to be the true voice of reason and wisdom. She is, after all, just a normal person. Not a superhero or a god. Amatsu! While far from average, she really is just a normal person. And moving right along, from the Midwest to our great northern neighbor to the north, Canadia. What's up north, eh? This week, a check-in with our new and occasional Canadia correspondent, RobyNova. From CTV News, Snow Go, Canadian Winter Festival cancelled because of snow. As much of the Great North becomes the frozen North, snowstorms wreak havoc across the country, somehow turning our mild-mannered neighbors to the north into some sort of Dante-esque nightmare, stuck bouncing back and forth between seasons of raging infernos and frozen wastelands. But their true punishment is the company they keep, eh? To paraphrase, heck is being stuck in a room for eternity with the U.S. And moving along to a headline that caught my eye, from another suggestion from our Canadia correspondent RobyNova, who suggested we check in on the maple syrup heists. Sweet little lies. Maple syrup fraud undermines the authenticity of Canada's liquid gold, from theconversation.com. That led me down a very shallow rabbit hole that ended up with, from CBC News, this. Messed up maple syrup. Crafty tactics complicate Canada's fight to stop illegal drugs at the border. Border agents and narcotics enforcement agents have found the illicit substances obfuscated in everything from engine parts to aqueous solutions in syrup bottles. No wonder I've been craving pancakes so much recently, eh? M was once a maple leaf. Leafy, reefy, cheesy, beefy, sheafy, a little leaf. S once wants some syrup. Syrupy, chirrupy, touristy, currency, charily, and warily smuggled syrup. Hats off for the syrup. Okay. I gotta watch out about singing "Oh Canada" on screen. I might get deported. You never know what's up in the US. And moving on to an unfortunately serious segment. The war on education. And an exclusive article from Nickwork Network News, authored by Khat. With headlines ranging from shilling shows, staff hurt in massive brawl at Charlottesville High School library, InfoCville.com's Charlottesville High School closed on Friday and will remain closed until November 27th. And the Washington Examiner's chaos closes Virginia High School after rules not enforced. To Etland.com's reported bomb threat interrupts Charlottesville teacher workday to address violence at high school. And the daily progresses. Charlottesville rallies around high school after recent turmoil. All happening within roughly a week. It is clear that something is going wrong at CHS, Charlottesville High School. The November 17th email from CHS to families stated it would be closed that day due to unusually high staff absences and lack of substitute teachers. Or as one report states, refused to show up for work because of too much fighting between students. Now, to cut what would very easily turn into an 8-page rant, we will skip over most of the nitty-gritty details and go straight into the fact that A. Teachers feel so unsafe and unsupported that they chose to stay at home rather than finish the week. A move that local teachers association says they did not organize. I don't think they had to organize. Two, the Department of Education is so concerned about graduation rates that most rules are unenforced and consequences non-existent. C, that school board and higher administrators are in lockstep with the Department of Education and continually place teachers and students in the no man's land of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And finally, 4, students faced with few or weak boundaries are flailing around looking to create some sort of order and structure for themselves, often in a physically, verbally harmful way. As one of the local teachers has said, even gentle parenting has boundaries and consequences. When you choose the action, you choose the consequence. As parents, teachers, and administrators, it's our job to set those boundaries and reasonable consequences. Teach about why the consequences exist, and when needed, enforce those boundaries. By not doing so, students are being set up to fail. So to juxtapose that with our second final segment this week, the segment I know you all have been waiting for with bated breath. Why, Florida, why? The segment that makes us ask each week, why, Florida? Why? And usually it has something to do with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis. And this week is no exception. A Florida election fraud chief died last year in the hallway of Ron DeSantis' office. To quote the article, Florida's top election fraud officer collapsed in the hallway of the governor's office after a heated meeting last year, then lay dead or dying for 24 minutes before someone came to his aid, according to a new report from local watchdog group. Oh man, who has to die to get a hand around here, huh? How afraid of Trump do you have to be to not save a dying man just because he's an elections fraud officer? He had to die, I tell you, he knew too much. But there was no election fraud. There was nothing to know. Exactly. Now you see why he had to die. And to juxtapose everything once again, our final segment, a very special, unrelated note, we would like to say that we wish Shane MacGowan to rest in peace. He was an amazing, amazing singer. The family says that he died peacefully with his loved ones around him. And on that note, thank you for joining us, friends, for this very special episode of Saturdays Posted Mostly presents Weekly Broken News. I am, have been, and hopefully will be again in the future, your host, Trevor Stewart. And as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. I'm out, y'all. And moving along to our commercial break, scheduled commercial break, where I get to have some coffee. From my Dante's Muggins mug. And now is the time when we would like to bring you a word from our advertisers. This week's word is antidisestablishmentarianism. And now we would like to thank our associate producer, Khat, our correspondents, WhoezThatGirl, it's Jess, and RobyNova, both of whom are streamers here on Twitch, or over there on Twitch if you're watching on YouTube now, which, if you're seeing this ad read, you are, so it's over there, not here. We would also like to now plug our friends, so you should definitely go and get some WhoezThatGirl Dassen __ and Akika Calde merch. I know her shirt is kind of covered up right now. It's a very groovy logo, and it says, "Bad times do get better," and we support that message here. And they are on Stream Elements and Streamlabs. WhoezThatGirl is on Stream Elements. Dassen is on Stream Elements, and Akika Calde is on Stream Labs. And now, let us not forget the inimitable Jeffy Millimeter, who has merved his merch. Man, and I don't even get a blooper reel for the ad reads. I just gotta power through my bloopers here. Inimitable Jeffy Millimeter. He's moved his merch to his new activewear brand, Emerald. To quote the Mega Millimeter, "I've started a new clothing line called Emerald. It has been a passion of mine to design awesome streetwear meant for all. It's just a startup for now, but it is something I plan on putting a lot of time into. If you want to check it out, please do so. If you're feeling extra generous, snag a piece of... If you're feeling extra generous, snag a piece of gear. Look out for awesome collabs with artists and new drops." To quote him even further, 100% the motto is "see into the future." And the website is emeraldbrandproject.com. And we would also like to thank the talented digital artist Marina Ayan for their wonderful cover art of the figPucker Funk album, which has just finished dropping this last week. We would also like to shout out some of our dear friends here at the channel, here on Twitch. Deeeeangala, Send Noodlz, Moozies, Busy Bell, Morpheous, Sleepy Scrubs, Bex Bexy, Ghoulish Cutie, and the amazing Wazabii. All of them you can find over there on Twitch. I think you can actually also find all of them here on YouTube as well. Maybe not Send Noodlz, but the rest of them I believe have at least a YouTube shorts presence. Some of them have full-on videos, such as Deeeangala and Busy Bell, who both have done some pretty incredible video essays. Now, to move on to our YouTube friends, for those shout-outs, Paula Haunt, the up-and-coming music producer, very talented, worth checking out over there on, over here on YouTube. Elliot, INTP, a very talented and whimsical visual artist and whimsical writer. Manages to be whimsical squared. Publishing under the name Mango Pudding over on the site Wattpad. The book is called Black Eyes, and it's pretty cool. And finally, we would like to thank our dear friend O'Shea of O'Shea's Beautiful Things. Go check out all of her beautiful things over there at O'Shea's Beautiful Things. And of course, all of the links will be in the description. If I can find them all, I'm pretty sure I can. Alright, got the ad readout. I think I do need some more coffee here. Mind like a steel trap, old and rusty. Hello friends, welcome back to Weekly Broken News with me, your host, Trevor Stewart. And let me remind you that this is not a news show, and this is not a news show. I am not a journalist, and all of the opinions and views expressed herein, man, blew the intro. From taking a sip. So, this week, let's begin with something from the front page of the New York Post. Front page, he made front page, people. George Jettison is the headline. Coming on the heels of the House. Let's begin this. This is going to be fun. The article notes Santos is the first member to be expelled from the House in more than 2 decades, and the first to be ousted since the Civil War, who hasn't first convicted, who... For everybody on Twitch, that was the face of me realizing that we missed a tongue twister. Oh, very good, Khat. Very good. From the article, Steve Bannon has issued a warning to retired General Mark Milley, claiming he will be held accountable in a second Donald Trump administration over calls he made to his former Chinese counterpart Just try that again. From MSN.com, did Trump swear to support the Constitution? Presidential oath, full transcript. The legal team is trying to keep Turnip on the Colorado ballot. I'm gonna do that again. According to the According to the According to the According to the Thorith, according to the it doesn't help if I laugh. Dang it. So, Khat, can we avoid the word Thorith in the future? I can say this. You know, this wasn't supposed to be the tongue twister. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. According to the serious face. According to the book that tells you what synonyms and antonyms are, protect is synonymous with support. A couple other synonymous... Exactly, the book. We're still gonna have to start that again. Okay, keep it together, buddy. You got this. I'm gonna get revenge on whoever wrote this script. Oh wait, that was me. An unnamed squirrel that may or may not have been responsible for Wednesday's issues has declined to comment, according to the lawyers of the Global Animal Freedom Foundation. I wonder if they're connected to the Global Animal Freedom Fighters. Various vectors, versatility varying vexingly via virtual views, valuing. All right. Here we go. Various vectors, versatility varying vexingly via virtual views, valuing vastly vibrant, venerable, valid... Third time's a charm. I got this one. You should. Various vectors, versatility varying vexingly via virtual views, valuing vastly vibrant, venerable, validation, vanward vaunting, and vanquishment. Vaulting. One word. One letter. One letter. Got one letter wrong. Okay, we're gonna try one more time. Shh. Don't you know? He's the noseless one. Various vectors, versatility varying vexingly via virtual views, valuing vastly vibrant, venerable, valvoline. No. Various vectors, well, that one didn't work either. Here we go. Various vectors, versatility, Red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. I got it. I'm gonna leave me smacking my knee in. I don't care. Let's move on. Ridiculous. Greta Thunberg blasts decision to let UAE oil boss chair climate talks. From The Guardian. Oh, I already said that. Let's try that again. That did not, that didn't. Starting at the headline. How are things going in chat, huh? Wazabii giving Khat a good ideas. Yeah. I mean, you know, make them as hard as you can, you know that. And there's a bigger one coming up, I believe, isn't there? That wasn't the big one. All right. Next costume change. I remembered my props this time. You know, I don't think we have a name for this character yet. We just know they're from northern Minnesota. Maybe that's something we should see what the chat thinks. We should name this character from northern Minnesota. Let's get to the end of the episode, and we'll see if chat has got any good ideas for the name of this person. Snow Goal from CV. This Dexy is a heck of a thing. To quote the article, Florida's top election fraud officer collapsed in the hallway of the governor's office.